All right. Well, thank you everyone at home for joining us. My name is Travis True. I am programming manager of the Philadelphia Film Festival. And we have the pleasure of having Filippo Meneghetti and Barbara Sukowa today with us. So thank you both so much for joining us and for allowing us to share this really beautiful film, two of us, with our audience.
Thanks
Of
for
Having us.
course.
We're
And
delighted that we're on the festival.
yes, and not only in the festival, but it's up for our Narrative Feature Award and our First Feature Award. And speaking of which, Filippo, this is your first narrative feature film. Can you tell us a little bit about where the project originated and maybe a little bit about the process of writing it and where the story sort of originated?
Sure. Well, yeah, the process of a long story somehow, which I guess is the case of many first feature anyway. Because since when I was a kid, I had, I have witnessed a situation with some people that were very close to me, that were very important for me because they are the person that passed me the passion for cinema. Um, and they went through a story that is much harder than the one that the film depicts actually. But at that time I was really touched by that story, and I always thought that if one day later on in my life I had the possibility to touch an audience, to talk to an audience, I would have liked as a gesture to give something back. They gave me this passion for cinema, so make kind of a story that is similar to theirs. But then, that said, the story is completely made up, and we've been working. I've been looking for the right way to tell the story for years. Then it happened that I found out that a friend of mine had two neighbors that were living at the last floor of their apartment building. Uh, they became widow at the same moment, pretty much. So to keep each other company, they were living with these two doors always open, exactly the same way that Madeleine and Nina lives, more or less. And so the story has nothing to do with it. But then I saw this image, and I said that I thought to myself that that could be a right metaphor, a simple metaphor to tell the story which I was looking to tell. And so that was the very first beginning of the idea of the film, and that was more than 10 years ago, I guess.
Wow.
And then, yeah, and then I did my first short film, and then it went well enough that I can have the possibility to do another one, and then to try the feature. And then I've been writing for 5 years with my co-writer Malisson Bovarasmi, for to really put the film together, which is a lot of work, and so many things get into the financing, and then you meet the actresses, and then you write back, and so on. So it is a long process.
And at what point did you reach out to the two lead actresses, Barbara and then Martine Chevalier, incredible actress as well?
Actually, pretty soon, in this 5 years span of writing and rewriting, then and financing, and and that was also something that nourished the script, because you start to talk with Barbara, with Martine, with Lea Drucker also, that plays Anne's daughter. She came later on, but still probably a year and a half or a year before the shooting, so we had time to hang out. And you realize that they can bring so many things to the character and different things. So you start to kind of rewrite with Malisson. We started to rewrite a little bit towards the energy of the person that we were meeting, that I was meeting and spending time with, and so that one, I guess, one of the most beautiful things in filmmaking is that the film is something that is organic, is alive. It is a lively thing, and it change, and as it unfolds in every step, and that is very, and with the energy and the things and the talent that other people are bringing in, and this is something that really amazes me every time.
Yeah, I did wonder if Nina was always written to be a German woman living in France, or if that was a later addition.
She was always written to be a stranger living in France, that's
Okay,
for sure.
interesting.
Actually, in my mind, at the very beginning, when I had the first idea, I was still living in Italy. So Madeleine was supposed to be Italian, and whatever. But then the movie changes along the way. But that for sure was something that was meant since a long time.
Okay. And Barbara, what was your response to the initial script that you were presented with, and what made you think that this was a role you wanted to take on?
I think the script was from the very beginning very good. I'm not even aware, like what Filippo just said, that they changed a lot, or that we were sort of instrumental to changes in the script. I thought it was a very well written script. I really liked it. And it's also something which you don't read very often, a love story between two older women. It's not something that you come across very often. So that was interesting. And I also was fascinated by the idea that a young man uh, would write with script with his partner, with my son, but that he would be interested in that. So that dynamic I found kind of, I was curious about it. And I definitely wanted to meet him.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and Filippo, what's your response to that when people ask you sort of why, as a younger man, were you compelled to make this story that was about two women who are from a different generation than you're part of?
First response I give is pretty much the one I said before. You know, I also made this film because I felt something about the story that I came across of real, which is again is not the story that the film tells. It the story is completely made up, but I wanted to get that thing out. And then I have two other possible answer. The first one is that I make movies to live other lives than mine. I really like to think about cinema as a tool for knowledge, human knowledge, you know, like getting to know what it's like to be somebody else. Like if I was acting, I guess it's probably close to the thing that, but I do feel like this. Every time you start to work on a film, you will get to know things because you're going to have to study things and to meet people and to research, and that's going to expand your life basically. You know, it's like somebody said that when you read a good book, you live a other life than yours, and I do that while I try to make my own films. And yeah, and then also the fact that it is a film about two aging women, that was very important to me because I do believe that this society, I feel the responsibility as a filmmaker uh, to about the representation, the images that we make, and so I wanted, I feel that is underrepresented and represented in the wrong way often. So I really wanted to address that as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the film feels so authentic, emotionally authentic. So you did a really amazing job, both of you, of bringing it to life. But speaking of that, Barbara, I guess one of the things that's so magical about the film is the connection that we're able to feel between the two main characters. And so what was the process like of meeting and working with Martine? Did you have a long time to sort of get to know each other and establish this connection, or how did you sort of bring that to the screen?
Yeah, no, we didn't have a lot of time. I just want to add something to the what Filippo just said. I think it was a very brave act on his part to do it with two older women, because he could have had financing much earlier if he would have taken young, beautiful women to, to do this story. So I thought it was really great. That also seduced me in a way to think, oh, here's somebody who is really risking something and doesn't just, look on the quick result. So yeah, we didn't have much time. Filippo arranged that we meet for a dinner and in Paris, and so I met Martine. And knowing that we didn't have a lot of time, we did what happens often with actors. We had to very quickly go right to the center of the story and to the meat. And so we both opened up very quickly about our personal life and our personal love stories, our personal journeys, our because these are older women, so they have had lives. It's not their first crush, and about heartbreaks and about experiences and family, because it's also a film about family, which I think is a really interesting aspect of the film, not just the love story about the two women, but how about Madeleine's children and how they react, and in that sense, a societal response. And we talked about you know, the phenomena of living in a small city, a small town, which Madeleine does, and Nina comes from a big town. So there are several clashes there, and they have their own dynamic, which I really liked. And yeah, we just worked with what we had as experience, and of course talked to Filippo and the screenwriter, and that was it.
Yeah, well, I imagine too, and this I guess is sort of a spoiler for anyone who hasn't seen the film yet, though I imagine anyone who's watching this will have. But obviously, so much of the time when you're working with Martine, she's not verbal.
Yeah.
Is, I mean, she does such an amazing job of communicating still just through her expressions and whatnot. But is that a challenge? Have you had that challenge before of working primarily with a scene partner who's so inhibited in certain ways by the character?
No, but I wanted so much to play that myself because I think it's such a great thing to play. And but no, Filippo, I'm glad that I played Nina. But you
No,
know,
no, that's okay. I remember
very
the
beginning, I always wanted to. You know, I thought that was so fascinating. No, I love doing that, and I think really Martine is really at her best when she just communicates with her eyes, and you see her face is so transparent. You know, you can see every emotion in her, so it was not difficult at all to. And it's a great challenge, you know, how do you behave yourself around somebody whom you cannot reach. And in the beginning it's very hard for Nina to reach her and to figure out what she's going through. But no, I love that. I think that was a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, it creates a really fascinating dynamic on screen for sure. Um, well, so this is a very specific question, but the use of the pop song that plays sort of towards the beginning of the film and then at the very end, I wonder if you could just talk a little bit, Filippo, about the choice to use that particular song.
Yeah, well, the idea of using the song to, you know, as a thing that comes back, etc., was really interesting to me for many reasons. I like repetition, and it is a film about repetition. You know, the original title is "De Two." The symmetry is very important. So the fact that things come back the opposite way around, we built a lot of the mise en scène about that idea. But then there, you know, you were speaking about Martine being not verbal for quite a huge part of the film, and the idea of not using too much words was very important while writing the script with Marisol. We always said that it was very important not to, because there was a danger in this film. It was the to be melodramatic, to use pathos too much, to push the emotion towards the audience, which I really didn't want. So the song was a tool to do that in a you know, in kind of a sideways or something like that. And also, why is that song is I mean, we were looking, I've been listening to so many songs during while writing. I mean, it was in the script, the song, because I was looking for a song with the right words, because that's why it is translated at the end. I'm Italian, so I didn't need that translation, but also the film is in French, so even for the French audience, it is translated. And the idea was that you hear those words, which are very much on the spot about what they are living, but you don't actually, because it is not your language, if you're not Italian, you don't really get it. And so all the words that we avoid during the film, all the emotion that we kind of squeeze and pass by during the film, then at the end, when we translate the words, we give you that somehow. So we finally say things, but through the song, not the character speaking those words.
Yeah.
But they were still there in the film.
Yeah, well, and I'm sure I'm not the first person who's mentioned this, but I think the English version of the song that a lot of probably Americans are familiar with is "I Will Follow Him."
Yeah.
So there's something very subversive.
Oh, I didn't know that there's
Yeah,
an
actually,
American.
that means that after the American version, the American lyrics
Yeah.
were released after actually it was first a French song, then an Italian version, then the American,
Oh.
which was much more successful actually.
Yeah, it's interesting. I just looked that up earlier because I didn't realize. I just
Oh,
assumed it
yeah.
was like a cover of the American version. My American, I guess, centers
No,
a
no,
world.
no. I mean, I
But
also knew I will follow him before, so
yeah, but it's such a, and the American version is a very submissive and it's very gendered. So it's kind of
I,
fascinating in this
I
film
never thought about it.
that it has that like connotation, and then the film definitely subverts that expectation. Um, Well, so the film premiered at the Toronto Film Festival last year, so it's been a little over a year, and obviously it's been a strange year as far as the festival circuit and among other things. But what has the reaction to the film been like, and have you been surprised at all by people's reactions to the film?
Well, it was a very strange year. So from Toronto, so from September till March, I was able with Barbara, with Martine, with Malisson, with Leah to go meet the audience in quite a lot film festival in different countries. And the film was released in France as well before the pandemic, just right before actually. We were still in cinema. And the film has been the reaction of the audience has been amazing, and I'm so grateful for it. It was very it is my first feature, so when you make a short film, the life of a film, even if it goes to a bunch of festivals, it is completely different. It is not the same relation. It's very I mean, I just discovered, I found out this year that and the truth is when you finish a film, it was a 6 years process, this film, so you're just very tired, and you don't want to see your film anymore. I mean, at least it was, you're tired, you just want to get it out. And so when the reaction from the audience came back, it was such a gift for me. Really, I was so touched by so many different reaction after screening, or people wrote me, and it is a gift, because I do make film for the audience in best possible sense. I mean, I want to touch people, because I like when I'm touched as an audience, so I want to be in that conversation somehow, and with somebody that I don't know, and the film went really well, and different countries, and today thinking that this thing that we wrote with Malisson in a small studio in Paris for years is reaching people in New Zealand, or in Russia, or whatever, or in the States. I'm completely amazed and blessed. Really, I'm just grateful. It's a wonderful experience.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's certainly a film that everyone who I've talked to has seen it has had a really profound emotional experience with. Even if they're not gay, even if they're not women, even if they're not, you know what I mean, of all ages and genders and everything like that. So thank you again both for making it. It's a wonderful film and a beautiful performance. And the film will be released in the States by Magnolia, I believe, beginning of next year.
Yeah.
Hopefully, depending on what the pandemic is, right? If people go to the movies.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, it's a big question. But yeah, so anyone, tell your friends, anyone at home. But thank you both again so much for taking the time to talk today. And thank you everyone at home for watching. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
so much. Thanks for having us.